I won't be beating around the bush and say the Vandal is supremely better than the Phantom. Both have their strengths, but in my opinion, properly learning how to use the Vandal and managing it accordingly will make it easier to use the Phantom. And because of that, I've been using both guns on a consistent basis, even making the Phantom effective on maps like Breeze. Anyways, let's head straight into it. 5 tips to make your Vandal elite. Number 1, stop spraying. As simple as that may sound, spraying with the Vandal at all ranges and scenarios is pointless because you'll be introducing levels of RNG to your gunplay that will just get you killed. Ever wondered why Ye is able to control the Vandal so well? Because he understands when and where to spray, burst, tap, and that's what we need to start doing. I'll be showing you a bunch of scenarios when and where tapping, bursting, spraying is better. Scenario 1. In this situation, I just killed a chamber and know there's a raise nearby too, so logically she'll look to trade out her teammate. Let's roll the clip.
That's done.
Main reason why I comfortably won that gunfight was A, my crosshair placement, and B, burst firing and being disciplined. How many of you are watching this right now would have done this instantly? Hold mouse 1, with some of you even crouching as well. And at this distance, spraying isn't good, nor is instantly crouching. Let's continue the clip.
Nice shot.
Brim was still A.
It's 1A, 1C.
Nice.
But I didn't expect the Fae to just swing out on me, which is why I decided to match her crouching. In a situation like that where there's only one enemy and they're very close, crouching is perfectly acceptable. Scenario 2, I'm in a 1 versus 2 and I know both enemies have to cross my vision to get to the bomb site.
1 enemy remaining.
For chamber, I couldn't crouch because if I crouched and sprayed and missed, the Sage would easily tread me out. And for the Sage, it was just too far for me to crouch and spray. How to attack with the Vandal. This is where things get a little tricky because of how the Vandal excels in positioning yourself in that sweet spot where enemies using the Phantom cannot one-shot you, but you can. It makes it harder to control that aspect on attack unless, of course, you're defaulting where you'd hold angles, punishing greedy defenders peeking. But essentially, it depends on the agent you're playing, the way you attack as a player. If you're someone who gets up close, for example, a jet dashing into a site, it's better to use a Phantom because of how fast it shoots and the ability to one-tap. Me personally, I prefer using the Vandal because I tend to not spray and pray, but rather tap, burst, and counterstrafe. This makes it much harder for the enemy to kill me as opposed to crouch spraying with the Phantom where I'll be a sitting duck. Sure, I might get that kill, but if there's 2 players on the side, I'll be easily traded out because I'll be crouch spraying, counterstrafing. I won't be showing you how to counterstrafe since at this point it's common knowledge, and if not, check out my movement guide where I go into more detail, but essentially with the Vandal, counterstrafing is necessary. Even though strafing and letting go of the key are basically the same, you still need to press the opposite key if you want to strafe side to side but still be accurate. Reason why this type of aiming works well is most players either insta crouch or crouch after missing that initial shot, and if you're out here doing this, you'll be a lot harder to hit, whereas they'll be just in the same position hopelessly missing. If that sounds enticing, then here's a sick method to improve your side-to-side strafing accuracy. Shout out to this Reddit poster where I saw this method. Head to this part of the range, enable a shooting error at the bottom of stats. This lets you see when you are moving while shooting, or in our case, not correctly counter-strafing. Use this spot to practice side-to-side strafes, making sure you're taking your time and not seeing any blues in the graph. The question you may ask, when is it ideal to strafe side-to-side? Typically when you're in that zone, so medium and long ranges. It's not advisable or particularly smart to strafe side to side when the enemy is this close, but ideally when you miss that initial shot or burst, strafing side to side, then bursting again, repeating this until they're dead is the preferred method. Remember, don't make your strafes predictable. Sometimes strafing twice or thrice before going the other way will make you that much unpredictable. Also remember, this is just a personal opinion. Pros have different ways of aiming, but I think this is the preferred method and a better method for most players. Stop panicking. The Vandal heavily relies on you hitting that headshot and more importantly being calm due to how impactful the movement inaccuracy penalty is.
How? I need your help, Master. No. You just need to believe.
So it's important you stay steady, not spraying wildly, but taking your time, making sure you're aiming for that head. Don't be disheartened if you're struggling with this in a ranked scenario. We typically resort to our instilled habits in a pressurized environment. Do make sure in unrated DMs and the range, you're not spraying wildly as it's a gradual process. Like with all things, you'll get better by being consistent and disciplined. If you're someone who actively struggles with anxiety, check out my ranked anxiety guide because I know how much of a problem that can be. Positioning. Positioning is so important in making sure when you do get the kill, you're not easily traded. Because the gun is engaged to take on multiple enemies at once, you're better off taking individual fights and isolating 1v1s. So let's say you're sitting backside and the enemy is rushing towards you. you swinging out and spraying wildly with the Vandal or even strafing side to side will get you killed. It doesn't matter if each of the enemy lands one shot, they collectively need just 3 or 4 shots and you're dead. So remember to keep an eye on your positioning, that way you're prepared to isolate gunfights and not be overwhelmed. Let's dissect one of my recent highlights where I made a mental note of the enemy tendencies and position accordingly. First thing I do is set up my TP on top of the boxes because enemies won't be pre-aiming here, but rather be pushing like this so I get a slight advantage and able to isolate the first engagement easily.
Teleport's ready.
Lodi.
I TP to CT because my previous TP on top of site was being punished by the enemies splitting sand and main. Now that I'm in CT, I see my teammate has been killed and I look to trade my teammate, swinging out just enough out of the smoke where I'm not fully exposed to all of sand. And immediately look towards main because that's the only possible position for them to be in, because I can see on the minimap my teammates are in dropper and CT.
That's 3.
And exactly what I've been preaching. I don't go for the insta spray, but rather burst shoot and reposition. And because I dinked him, I know he's at least half HP, so I'll go for a crouch spray knowing he's dead in 2 shots. In this clip, I showcase how I isolated gunfights, trading teammates, utilizing the minimap and spraying when it was ideal. Of course, I'm usually not this good, otherwise I'd be up there, but hopefully with enough improvement, you too can become a demon with this gun. I hope you all enjoy, and as always, until next time.